All right, let's jump right into this explainer. For decades now, we've basically been chasing this holy grail, right? The idea of one single perfect brain diet that's going to protect us all against cognitive decline. But what if I told you that the entire concept is actually a myth?
And look, the urgency here is absolutely crucial. Right now, Alzheimer's disease affects over 55 million people globally. That is just a staggering number. And with our aging population, it's projected to literally triple by the year 2050. I mean, this is a health crisis that touches almost every single family in some way, creating an immense social and economic burden.
Since pharmaceutical drugs currently offer only modest symptomatic relief, no definitive cure yet, researchers and patients have naturally turned to nutrition. We want to take control. We all want to eat right to protect our minds, for sure. But diving into the latest research leads us to a really counterintuitive yet fascinating question. What if the perfect diet for your brain depends entirely on your DNA? So, here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We're going to cover the Alzheimer's diet myth, the genetic twist with APOE, nutrients under the microscope, why timing matters with early intervention, and finally, the precision nutrition future.
All right, Section 1, the Alzheimer's diet myth. We've been told for years that regimens like the Mediterranean diet, lots of olive oil, nuts, fish, will just broadly protect the aging brain. But when you look at comprehensive clinical trials on these broad dietary patterns, they are actually frustratingly inconsistent. I mean, while some people see incredible benefits, others see almost zero improvement at all. The absolutely crucial point here is that individuals with identical dietary habits can and often do experience vastly different cognitive outcomes. That old kind of tired one-size-fits-all approach to public health nutrition, it's just failing us when it comes to neurodegeneration. There's basically an invisible biological puppeteer pulling the strings behind the scenes, deciding whether that piece of salmon or that handful of blueberries actually protects your brain.
Which brings us to Section 2, the genetic twist, APOE. So meet the APOE gene. We all have it, but we carry different variations of it. Think of APOE as essentially the transit system for lipids and cholesterol in your brain. It is the strongest common genetic risk factor for late-onset Alzheimer's. It acts as this massive biological modifier, totally reshaping how your brain interacts with the food you eat.
If you have the APOE E2 or E3 variants, your brain's transit system is like a smooth, wide-open highway. You have normal lipid trafficking, you get enhanced amyloid clearance, and you generally respond really well to standard, healthy diets. But if you carry the APOE E4 variant, that's the high-risk gene, your brain's plumbing basically looks like a massive rush-hour traffic jam. This variant accelerates amyloid plaque buildup. It spikes neuroinflammation and physically disrupts your metabolism. So standard doses of nutrients, they just can't get to where they need to go.
Moving right along to Section 3, nutrients under the microscope. When we look at decades of clinical trials synthesized together, a really stark pattern emerges. Take omega-3s, specifically DHA. In the general population, sure, they offer modest benefits, but for an APOE E4 carrier, the response is totally blunted. Their brain physically struggles to absorb and incorporate those neuroprotective lipids. And we see a very similar story with B vitamins, or those multi-nutrient drinks aimed at preserving the hippocampus. For E4 carriers, the benefits are often just uncertain or severely attenuated. The big takeaway here is loud and clear. Your genotype literally dictates your nutrient absorption. Now, it's not all doom and gloom for dietary interventions. Despite these genetic hurdles, high adherence to the MIND diet, which you might remember is that hybrid of the Mediterranean and DASH diets heavily focused on berries and leafy greens, is still associated with a massive 53% reduction in Alzheimer's risk across broad populations. Even if the benefit is slightly weaker for an E4 carrier, a 53% overall reduction gives us a really hopeful metric. It shows us that whole diet patterns are vastly superior to just popping isolated supplements. This leads us to Section 4, timing matters, early intervention. Okay, so the absolute optimal intervention window for brain health is in midlife. And why is this so critical? Well, because in the later stages of Alzheimer's, especially for an APOE4 carrier, the blood-brain barrier severely degrades. It essentially loses its ability to transport protective antioxidants and lipids into the brain altogether. If you wait until late-stage Alzheimer's, the dietary impact is incredibly limited, unfortunately. So early midlife intervention, that is absolutely our best window of opportunity. And finally, Section 5, the precision nutrition future. So the future here is something researchers are calling precision nutrition. We're moving toward a reality where artificial intelligence can merge your specific genetic profile, the bacteria in your gut microbiome, and even real-time lifestyle data from your smartwatch to prescribe a continuously adapting, highly personalized diet. Like if you're an E4 carrier, AI might actually recommend a genotype-targeted dose of highly bioavailable omega-3s that can literally bypass that metabolic traffic jam we were talking about earlier. How cool is that? But as we look at all this incredible science, we definitely have to recognize the very real social and ethical hurdles that come with it. First off, simply learning you carry a high-risk Alzheimer's gene can trigger some intense psychological anxiety. Plus, these cutting-edge AI tools, the multi-omic screenings, the fancy bioavailable supplements, they're expensive. There's a serious risk of widening healthcare disparities if these advanced precision nutrition models are only accessible to the folks who can easily afford them.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. We are rapidly transitioning from generic, broad public health advice to these deeply personalized biological roadmaps. As science maps the exact nutrient interactions inside our brains, how intimately is our biology going to dictate our daily choices? Are we genuinely ready for a near future where our grocery lists are quite literally written by our genes? It's a pretty fascinating paradigm shift to think about.